Ross Greenwood is covering everything for us in the financial heart, the media heart of all of this. New York City, where, of course, it is Sunday morning there, Sunday night at home. Ross, give us an idea about some of the financial indicators that we should be looking at. Everyone's looking at polls, but is there anything that the markets are telling you or the insiders are telling you about where they think this thing's going?
Have a look at the betting apps. That's generally the best guide for election outcomes in America, always has been, and it says Trump is the favourite right now. So that's one of the keys that's really kind of interesting to see about this. But you're quite right about one other thing, and that is what strikes me just chatting to people like you've been chatting to people, is just how much there are parallels with Australia. It's all about the cost of living. The fact of the matter is normally governments get chucked out when the unemployment rate rises rather rapidly. Here in America, like it is in Australia, people have got jobs, but they're not happy. They're not happy about interest rates having gone so high. They're not happy about migration. Here in New York, massive numbers of migrants coming through. And so, as a result, the people are disgruntled about the price of housing. They're disgruntled about the fact that even though the inflation rate might have come down, prices certainly haven't. They're still having to pay more. So, you know, the interesting thing that you've discovered, even chatting to people, that I've discovered, is just how engaged Americans are in this election. Remember that voting is voluntary. You don't have to vote. But the fact is that people are engaged, and more than 2/3 of this nation, the adults who are eligible to vote, are going to get out and vote, 160 million of them, and record numbers already have, Paul. So it is incredible on the streets just how engaged people are, isn't it?
Oh, look, this is the thing. The great thing about Americans is that all of them are born performers. All of them want to have a chat to you. All of them speak in the perfect sound bites. It is very easy to have a chat to them. But I've got to say as well, Ross, like, you're the best in the business when it comes to business, to finance, and your entire career has had a consumer focus on it as well. I think this is a parallel to the conversation that is happening in Australia, as you say, which is the numbers coming out of Washington, coming out of Canberra, they might say one thing about things getting better. But the reality is that even if the inflation is a smaller number than it was before, well, when you add it on top to every inflation number that's happened since the pandemic, prices are way up. And I was talking to people in Texas where they're talking literally about the food they're eating at restaurants is up by 30%, the rent that they're paying, the amount that they have to pay off on a home. Yeah. That's what makes it very difficult for people trying to tell us, well, but this number says this and numbers. No. If your lived experience is the orange man, it was 30% cheaper, that's his whole call to why to vote for him, right?
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing, I'll give you a small example of this, is I said this with Pete Stefanovic the other day, is just round the corner from where we're staying here in the Lower East Side in New York is Kat's famous deli, famous for Seinfeld, so many other movies. When Harry Met Sally, that famous scene in there. Well, the fact is their famous sandwich is the Reuben burger, right? It's stacked high with meat. Well, the Reuben burger now is $30 US, which is about 45 Aussie dollars. So get that, a sandwich, $30. So that gives you just a little sense of the cost of living crisis. But I'll tell you what, it's not easy to actually spark a bit of an upset in this town either. So yesterday we're outside Trump Towers. And what happens is we spot this model, this dummy of Donald Trump being wheeled across with his underpants half down. I'm wondering what the hell's going on here. Anyway, so what happens is it turns out there's a British artist called Alison Jackson who's really famous, right? Super duper famous. And she did a sculpture back in 2016, which she's rearranged here outside Trump Towers, is of Donald in flagrante delicto with Miss Mexico, right? It would be fair to say. So I don't know whether we're going to show the actual pictures of what it looks like, but you can imagine what it's like. Anyway, so Alison Jackson's there, right? Get this. Alison Jackson's there. We start interviewing her. We almost cause a riot, the whole thing. Anyway, so just have a listen to the little interview with Alison Jackson. And the riot almost turns out afterwards. Tell me about your inspiration. What was your thoughts in doing this?
Well, I just thought the elections are coming up, and I just thought, well, that's what Donald Trump does best. Right. And, you know, you see it as it is.
So who are you trying to send the message to? Is it to the local community here? Who are you trying to do it to?
Well, I'm an artist, so, you know, it sits in the middle. So basically, you can see what he's doing, and, you know, he admits to all of that. So there it is.
So tell me about the fact.
How about the kids watching this? this away.
Huh?
I think it's disgusting.
You think it's
I do think it's disgusting.
Yeah, Paul, we had to pull out of the interview after that because we were going to cause a riot. But I'll tell you, New York Marathon today, we'll be out on the streets having a chat to people about all of that. But the one thing you can tell right now, even with Kamala Harris going on Saturday Night Live, the fact they're running all over the countryside right now is this is tight. And I've got a sense that neither party really knows whether they're across the line just yet.
This is it, exactly, where, look, there are certain voters that just want to go with the winner, so both want to pretend that they are the winner right now. Thank you, Ross. You'll see him at 4:30 Eastern Daylight Time in his show, of course, with Business Now.